Men like you are my specialty, you know. Men of violence.
Now, that's a hell of an assumption to make.
No assumption, no, not at all. You misunderstand me. I said you are men of violence. I'm not accusing you of being violent. Men. That's quite different.
Now, please, edify us, Doctor.
You both served overseas, huh?
It's not much of a stretch, Doc. For all you know, we're both paper pushers over there.
No, you are not.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
That's the power. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who. Let it go, can't hold it. Rising up to the challenge of our rival.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.
Hello, and thank you for listening to Cheapseat Reviews, the podcast that explores the Hollywood film industry for the greater good.
For the aged ogre rot. Get it? It's an anagram for greater good.
Oh man, that's perfect. That's great. Why did my intro cut out so awkwardly? That was weird.
Yeah, that was quick.
I don't understand
that.
that.
Really quick.
It's the normal audio file I've been using for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, well that was awkward.
All right, yeah.
Anyway, we're off to a good start. This is episode 343. You know what? We need to go back and pause there for a second. I jumped ahead because of the audio. That was a really good anagram, Sam. I'm impressed.
Oh, you like that one?
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, that was good.
So aged ogre rot, greater good.
That's great. Aged ogre rot. I kind of want that to be the title of the episode, but I mean, I feel like only 30 seconds in. I don't know. We should wait to see what.
Do we blow the surprise too early with the?
I don't know.
Is this going to get any better? Is it all downhill from this
No,
point?
it's always downhill.
Yeah, pretty much the intro is the highlight of the show. The music that will eventually get us kicked off the internet. This is episode 343, and today we're talking about Shutter Island. I guess that is that kind of Shutter. I never thought about it that way, but you're right. I am Sean Allred, and do you think that's why they named it that? Like the guy that found it got there and like did a Shutter shiver kind of a thing, and is like, that's what I shall call this place, Shutter Island.
It's kind of cold and cold, desolate. Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I like it. Okay.
I want to go to like Tequila Island, or if I'm going to be sent to an insane asylum, it better be Sunshine and Roses Island.
Yeah.
Or
Can we go to Naked Girl Island? Is that a thing? Well, maybe not. Maybe that we don't want that. I don't know. No. I'm Sean Allred, and joining me tonight is unfortunately not Andrew Jemison. He has real world things happening and is unavailable. So
school, for goodness sake, I don't blame him.
Yeah, the guy's working on his master's and is kicking his butt right now. So the best of luck to him. So
absolutely.
But we will trudge on nevertheless. So with me, as you hear, of course, is Sam. Now I see why Rorschach wore a mask. Vector.
Exactly, but it was all his fault, right? It wasn't Rorschach's fault. It was all his fault. But
I don't know. Rorschach
Sean,
seems like the kind of guy that would beat himself up just to get, I don't know, for a reason.
To get the bad guy.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
Sean, for this movie, I'd probably I'd push you off the cliff, right? But I don't think I'd make you land on the rocks. I would just paint an outline on the rocks and then watch you drown in the water. So that's kind of how that would work.
Okay. That's weird, but sure. All right.
Yeah.
Not one of your more creative, deaths for me, but that's fine. I'm okay with that.
No, you don't think so?
No.
How else would I do it in this one, right?
A lobotomy? I don't know.
Lobotomy? No, that's too easy.
Oh.
That's
too easy. Pushing me off rocks is not exactly hard. Or pushing me off a cliff.
Push you off a cliff. Well, you drowned instead of hit the rocks, right?
Yeah, drowning in freezing cold
ties into
Maine water. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, this has gotten weird. And joining us, making his Cheapseat Reviews debut, is Ricky D. How did they fake the hurricane debris from Best Flicks with Ricky D?
Hello.
Hey, Ricky.
Hurricane debris. I don't know how you fake that.
I mean,
although
this
movie did have some really bad fake moments. If we go to like where Leonardo DiCaprio and the like prison warden were in that car scene, that was one of the worst car ride scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was bad. I'm watching it on my 65-inch TV, and you know the interstitching. What's the word I'm looking for, Sam? Obviously the green screen.
Yeah,
it was bad. It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like they were just put on a couple of stools in front of a green screen.
Yeah, and then they were just kind of
no exterior of the car,
just kind of bouncing around. Yeah, it made me wonder if any of it was. I don't know. It just maybe it's supposed to make you think that it's not real or something. I don't know.
Oh, there you go. It was a directorial choice.
No. Because Scorsese
in a movie
kind of
where you don't know what is real and what isn't,
yeah,
all of a sudden you're pulled from the movie with a scene that doesn't look real.
Yeah, but with a guy who I believe is real and a conversation that feels like a conversation he would have.
Yeah,
I also feel like he was so wasted.
Was that now? If I'm thinking of the same scene, this is where he asked about biting the eye out of his head, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
It just feels like that was a wasted character. Like, you're going to get that guy to say words. I want him to say more words.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a lot of characters in this movie, though.
There are.
A lot of threads that were pulled that some didn't quite make up. You know, we call it the hopping man, and there was, I don't know if there really was a hopping man in here, but there was a lot of different characters that he interacted with that were kind of fly by night.
Well, I kind of took the hopping man trope, and Ricky, if you're confused about what that means, I'm sorry. I've explained it the last 3 times we've had guests. Go watch Dark Man. If I would say it was the guy what met them at the beginning of the movie. Carol, what's his name? His real name.
Baskins.
Carol Baskins. Killed him, dead. John Carroll Lynch. We saw him in the trial of the Chicago 7. He was the He was there, and then they find him in the cemetery, and then he's gone forever. And then the next person.
Well, he's I believe he picked up DiCaprio at some point in the car. He says, "I've been looking for you." Right.
That was in the rain in the cemetery when they were hiding it from the storm. And then he says, "Get dried off, go change." So, which means that even he knew that his delusion was reigning.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we're getting too far ahead. We're going to back it up first. We're watching Shutter Island, 2010's Shutter Island, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Mark Ruffalo,
Kate Winslet.
She's not in this. Sir Ben Kingsley, Max von Sydow, Michelle Williams, Emily Mortimer, who I know from the Newsroom.
Newsweek? Newsroom, yeah.
And Ted Levine, however you pronounce it. He was the guy. He's put the bunny, not the bunny. He's put the lotion in the bucket or whatever. He's that guy.
Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill. Thank you. And I know him mostly actually from the TV show Monk. That's where I know him from.
I love Monk.
Yeah. That's a good show. 2010, like I said, Martin Scorsese directed this. Says I don't know. It's E's. Scorsese. Sazy? You say Sazy? Sazy?
I say Sazy.
You get
Martin
names
Scorsese.
wrong. You get names wrong all the time. Who are you to say? You just said that Kate Winslet was in this movie. Scorsese?
Okay. Martin Scorsese.
Sazy. I'm going to say that the other way because I think my way's more.
He's gonna send some Boston mafia guys into your house to knock you up.
I would be honored to have a
knock
hit
me
off
up?
by Martin Scorsese.
I don't think they can knock me up. I think that's the different thing is what you're trying to say.
Oh, is it? Okay. Maybe my vernacular is maybe wrong.
That's all right. Martin Scorsese, I'll say it like you guys do, directed this, and once again, he's paired up with DiCaprio, and they made a fine film, or
They did.
Or I think so. What is Cheddar Island? Well, I will tell you because Andrew's not here to do so. In 1954, a U.S. Marshal investigates the disappearance of a murderer who escaped from a hospital for the criminally insane.
Yeah.
So,
doesn't let anything loose that doesn't need to be loose.
Yeah, I appreciate that the IMDb person, whoever wrote that, knew that not to spoil stuff. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So had either Ricky, you picked this movie because we were supposed to do Molly's Game, and it got pulled, I think, literally like last week. So, had you seen this before?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
It's been a while, probably since 2012-ish. But I did take a class on Martin Scorsese where we watched all of his movies.
Oh, wow. Oh, cool.
You took a class on just him?
Yep.
Was it a long class?
Yeah, it was pretty long. It was a film class.
Would rats just randomly come in and out of the classroom?
No, it went through the course of an entire semester. So all that time kind of spread out.
Well, interesting. That would be an interesting one, especially from. Did it chronologically? Did you watch the movies?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
We started out what were his really old movies?
Not Raging.
Way before that.
Yeah, I'm working on it here. Let's see. So some of his first things are
my brain.
See, Short. Who's knocking at my door? Let's see, Boxcar
Alice
Bertha.
doesn't live here anymore. Boxcar Bertha. Yep.
Taxi Driver. Raging Bull. See, I've seen almost none of these. The Last Temptation of Christ. Goodfellas.
Casino. I think that one's next.
Yeah, Cape Fear. I didn't know he did Cape Fear. Let's see. Yeah, Casino. Kundun, whatever that is.
Kundun. That was a movie about a monk.
Oh, neat.
Very interesting.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, I've seen the poster for this. I recognize this thing. It's one of those.
I didn't realize Taxi Driver was so early on in his directorial debuts.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, that IMDb wanted me to know that he's 5'3". That's interesting.
Not a tall man.
He's directed 63 credits. That's crazy. He's working on something now called The Devil in the White City, Killers of the Flower Moon, Untitled David Johansen, New York Dolls documentary, An Afternoon with SCTV, and
all starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, yeah, and something called Roosevelt. He's doing looks like it's a biopic on Roosevelt, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. He's the only person on the cast. It's just announced. He's going to be Theodore Roosevelt.
It's probably just assumed.
Yeah. That's funny. That's great. The Irishman, which I did not see because, well,
it's long.
You know,
the length of his movies always get to me. And they're all good. Sorry, that's the dog attacking me. They're all good, but they're just.
Somebody needs to make a guide where they break down every Martin Scorsese film into like a 2 or 3 parts. Yeah. And just give you like clear points where you should go, all right, watch this much for the first night and then put it away, get it back out the next night.
The Snyder Cut, right, where it's in chapters. I would like that, where it's all in chapters and I could come enjoy it more knowing that it's not going to be, I'm not going to age 10 years while I'm watching it.
It's really interesting how we view like our media, right? Like if I said, "Hey Sam, why don't you come over and we're gonna watch
5 hours of Game of Thrones?"
That's a good example. If I said to Sam, "We're gonna watch we're gonna binge all of season 1 of Game of Thrones," you would be all over that because that's 10 hours.
Sure. Yeah.
If I said, or we're going to binge watch The Wolf of Wall Street, The Irishman, and Gangs of New York.
Oh.
You exactly.
Oh. But I love Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah. I
Gangs of New York.
Yeah,
that
I actually
film.
did like that too.
Gangs, again, it's a lot of tough stuff. At least I don't want to say there's humor in Wolf of Wall Street, but it's funny in times.
Yeah.
Whereas Gangs is just
it's
brutal,
devoid of
right?
hope
the
and
Scorsese
joy.
films are all just brutal. They're just they're deep and tough, and you got to think. These aren't brainless stuff that he's making.
I think that's probably why he did Hugo, just to kind of, you know what I'm saying, like to help counterbalance. Because the next movie he did would be Wolf of Wall Street, so he's like, well, I need to earn some credit before I delve back into hell.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So Sam, let's go ahead and do a 5-word review.
Sure. I've actually got a couple.
All right.
Here. And I've got 3 actually. And I'm going to start off with Jaws, but in the mind. Anybody else feel like the soundtrack was very Jaws-esque?
Interesting.
And very Mars, whatchamacallem.
Kind of like
very,
Holes, yeah.
Yeah, it's very horror movie-ish, which is suitable for what we're dealing with. But it was interesting to me that the soundtrack was preeminent, very classical style through it.
Do you want to know something really interesting about the soundtrack?
Sure.
This movie has no score.
Did they use all classical?
Every piece of music is licensed music, was purchased. There is no composer for this movie. I was looking for it. It was driving me crazy. And then I looked at the soundtrack, and every piece of music is from something else. It's licensed music.
But it felt like it fit.
Yeah.
This is like a Dark Side of the Moon on Wizard of Oz type of deal, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Imagine being the music producer of this thing and fitting these things to these scenes. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
When I saw that because when I got to the credits, because I'm scouring IMDb looking for the composer because this music is really haunting, and because we're only 5 minutes into the movie, my wife, because of the music and the creepy lady at the front whispering, giving the sign that's all over the trailer.
Flash.
Yeah. My wife looks at me and says, "Is this a horror film?" And I said, "No, but there's some scary moments, but it's not a horror film, but it feels like one."
Yeah. It felt like the opening to Kubrick's Shining, right? The ominous, classical, what do you call it in there? But no, it was. I love the music in this, and that's surprising that it wasn't an original piece for it. All right, my second one here is He Can't Handle the Truth, which is kind of
oh, that's funny. That's good.
And then my last one is Can It Get Any Darker? Sean, I'm going to get on to you about making us watch these movies. This is the third week in a row with these dog die at the end movies?
3 out of 4. We did do Godzilla v. Kong last week. So.
Okay. All right. So, but holy cow, this was heavy.
Yeah.
And as a father to kids, holy crap. I think once I found out, because this is my first time seeing this movie. And the only difference is that I knew the twist, right? I'd been spoiled a while ago, which was kind of interesting to me, only because since I knew the twist, I could see some of the hints. I just didn't know the story of why he was in there, right? And you really don't get that to the very end. But holy crap! When he's getting him out of the pond. I mean, spoiler alert. When he's getting him out of the pond and ends up shooting his wife. I mean, that bit hard in me for this movie, and I do not blame him and his choices at the end, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. Did this therapy work or not on him? So this is a dark movie, and I would almost want to watch it again now that I kind of know the basic story, because, even when you see them coming from the boat onto land. Sorry, the dog bit my hand.
I know, that's why I'm laughing. I know exactly what's happening to you right now.
You see all of the officers kind of, grab their gun a little harder and kind of, like this guy was dangerous, and It was interesting to see some of the reactions around him. I thought maybe the Hulk, what's his name?
The Banner. Yeah, you can.
Banner. I thought maybe he was going to be a figment of his imagination for a long time until he was handed a glass of brandy. And I was like, oh, okay, well, either Scorsese messed up or he really is a person in this thing. But I really did enjoy it, even though it was dark, and it had some really tough themes. I thought it was done so well. It's like any Scorsese movie, for goodness sake, right? It's just the acting is amazing. You know, the car ride put aside, right? Everything else is just done so well, and the atmosphere he makes is beautiful. So it was a wonderful movie, if not hard to watch.
I'm gonna drop this here, and then we're gonna move on to Ricky's 5-word, and that was if you noticed, you mentioned being handed the brandy. There's a moment when he's interrogating the prisoners or the patients. They made sure to correct that several times. The patients. And the woman says, "Can I get a glass of water?" And so,
yeah, I caught this.
So Banner leaves to go, get the water, and he comes back and hands her the cup. And you see her pick it up, but in the next shot, when Leo looks at her, she's not drinking anything. She's faking it, and then puts her hand down. Did you notice that, Sam?
No, I did not.
My wife did and said, "Why did she fake that?" So
weird.
Yeah, I don't know if you caught it, it would this moment would have mattered more. But we're going to come back to that because it has something to do more with the ending. But I just wanted to drop that if you remember that moment, because when she scribbles in his notepad, "Run."
Yeah.
Right, and then when he comes back, they hand her the cup. She doesn't actually drink anything.
There were also some cool scenes that were like filmed in reverse, where the cigarette smoke was getting sucked back into his cigarette. There were
really,
there were a couple of these weird shots where it was just like something is a little bit off about this. This is just kind of giving me this unsettling feeling. And when his cigarette smoke was crawling back into his cigarette, that was really cool.
Interesting.
I'll have to.
It did feel like a lot of the cigarette smoke felt CGI because it just lingered there. There was a lot of like cloudy moments, which I think is supposed to be there. It's supposed to be cloudy and unclear of things. Ricky D, what you got?
For a 5-word review, I put in, "Hey there, storms are coming."
Nice.
Because at the beginning, like Brooklyn, Boston accent, they're like, "Oh, welcome aboard, Marshal."
Nice, yeah. All right, just the one.
I also threw in, of course he's effing crazy. That was when I was getting to the end of the movie.
Yeah,
I was like, of course Leonardo DiCaprio is effing crazy.
Yeah, I mean he's truly a sympathetic character in this.
I didn't remember exactly what the twist was when I was going through this, but I knew it had, kind of a Sixth Sense type twist at the end. Yeah. And I was sitting there going, I don't think Mark Ruffalo is real. Wait, maybe he is real. No, I don't think no, he's alive. He's real.
Yeah.
Okay, he's real.
It's interesting. So this is my second time seeing this. I watched this years ago. I don't know why, but I did. And the thing at the end, the reveal at the end, it kind of blew me away. I was like, oh my gosh, man, that's just crazy. But for some reason, I blocked the why out of my brain. Like, for whatever reason, the movie ends when he gets to the lighthouse. It just stops in my memory. I don't remember anything past it. So either
probably because it's not, you don't want to remember what exactly happened.
And it would have been before children when I watched it. So I mean, maybe that was part of it, or maybe I stopped watching the movie. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So when I was watching that moment, I mean, I was weeping. And of course, my wife looks over and goes, "Are you crying?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm crying." She's like, "Okay, well, I am too. I just want to make sure that you're okay." I'm like, "Yeah, this is really sad." And then she made the comment as I was literally typing it in my notes. She literally says, "Boy, Leo sure does have a hard time with wives and stuff." And I'm like, "Yeah, exactly. Like Inception and this." And I said,
very true.
I said, even Titanic. And she's like, "Well, he died in that one." I'm like, "Well, that still counts." I guess it doesn't, but anyway. So my 5-word was, do you guys know what LARPing is?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. This only works if you know what that means. If you're listening and you don't know what LARPing is, do a quick Google of LARPing. It's nothing dirty. It's a thing. So mine is, LARPing proves to be helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah. Because, and we can go there now, Sam, if you want, or we can do it later, but I ultimately think that this does help him.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally agree. I think the therapy works. What they didn't foresee, or what they didn't expect, is that it worked to a point that he figures out a way to get out of the pain and suffering that he's in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he realizes why he's there and the reasons why he's there, and then figures out, well, if I get this lobotomy, I won't have to worry about this anymore.
Yeah.
That's my take at the ending, right? Is that what everybody else is thinking?
Yeah. I mean, I think it would be better. Sorry, pardon my stuttering. I think it was a successful intervention. I think it was a really good idea. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of talk at the beginning about how you can either go the psychopharmacological route, or you can go the
behavioral
the old school transorbital lobotomy, or I actually try to engage with my patients. And that was really kind of interesting in the grand scheme of his recovery.
Yeah. It's a lot like exposure therapy, right? So if you've got arachnophobia, they make you lay down in a box full of spiders, or, if you're afraid of heights, they put Sean on the top of a building with no rope. It's a lot like that, where, they used his background as a marshal and as a detective to help him figure out his own story. And I thought that was pretty interesting that, number one, they were willing to do it. But number two, that ultimately it kind of worked.
The one thing I love about this movie, and that's the idea that everyone there, except for the guy who he beat up in the cell, like everyone there is playing the game to help this guy.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nice that when you find out that the Sir Ben Kingsley is legitimately there to help him. Because you kind of want him to be the bad guy. Like, you kind of want the delusion to be real, because it's more interesting. And then when you find out that the truth, in fact, is more compelling and more heartbreaking, and that Ben Kingsley is there, even when DiCaprio has him by the throat, and he's trying to, Bruce Banner comes in and pulls him, and then he like shows him the pictures of his kids. He's legitimately trying to help him, and I 100% agree with you, Sam. And again, I missed it when I watched it the first time, but in this time, when he jumps back into character, and I keep calling him Banner. I can't remember his character's name, but
Chuck.
Chuck, thank you.
Yeah, or Chuck was the fictitious name.
True.
Yeah,
I can't remember what he was his psychiatrist or something, or his personal psychiatrist.
He turned out to be Dr. somebody, but we're going to just call him Chuck because I don't remember what it is. Is he going to be Chuck or Banner? When he kind of has he has this kind of sad moment of, man, it didn't work. And then when then DiCaprio says the thing at the end, the final line of the movie, then Ruffalo has that moment of, oh crap, he's back, he's there, he's good. He just doesn't want to be in this world anymore because this is the world where his kids are dead and his wife did it and he shot her. And that's what, and you look at that and go, yeah, totally get his I'm with you, man.
Pain.
I
Totally get his pain.
Get it. And if there's a way that you can do a thing to me that I won't feel it and I won't feel pain anymore, I might do that too. Like he's such a sympathetic character in this movie. Yeah. He's so sympathetic. Unlike Wolf of Wall Street. Where he sucks. Out loud.
But he's supposed to. He's supposed to be a...
Yeah. He really is. But it does make you wonder...
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to... You mentioned Wolf of Wall Street, and he was being a jerk, and I was just like, yeah, giving out fun coupons. But that probably wasn't worth interrupting with.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say... What was I going to say? I don't remember what I was going to say. It doesn't matter. I did write one of my first notes was the one that was that I know this it's supposed to, but the music is stressing me out. That was my first note.
Yeah.
There was a lot of other camera edits or edits and cuts that really make you uncomfortable. You know, like when I'm trying to remember. It feels like everything in this movie was like there was not a whole lot of handheld camera. It felt like everything was on sticks. I don't remember a lot of shaky cam, but I remember
there was that really cool scene right at the beginning where they're driving the car into the prison and they put like the camera on front of the car.
Yeah.
And it kind of like made you feel like you're going into this prison and you're getting trapped in here.
Yeah.
That was an excellent Scorsese style shot.
Yeah.
Some of the
with the Shining type music there was just creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike The Shining, this movie actually made me uncomfortable. The Shining just made me bored.
Yeah.
But
how dare you?
I know you're from Colorado and you're supposed to have a thing, but The Shining sucks. It's not a good movie.
You've got to see the documentary. I think it's on Netflix. The Room.
Yeah.
Was it 232? I can't remember which one it was. But you watch that, Opie, and you will appreciate the movie that much more.
I might appreciate the movie, but it doesn't affect that the movie's not good. It doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? Like this is the Sky Captain of the World of Tomorrow effect, right? We watched the movie and we all thought it was okay. It wasn't great. It was just fine. But then when we learned that this was a labor of love for the director and he financed a lot of it and he was using this new technology, we're like, oh, we can appreciate the art that he was trying to do, but it doesn't make it better. It's to say, like, I'll watch the doc at some point. I don't know when I'll have time. We might have to review it. I don't know. But there's nothing scary in that movie.
Grumble.
There's what's scary in that movie? Nothing is scary in that movie.
There's a jump scare with the axe in the chest.
There's one jump scare, and that poor man drove all the way from Florida just to die. He served no point at all. The Shining that the movie is about barely happens. I mean, literally, the kid just brought him there to die. And I know there's a really cool fan theory that I think we even talked about in our episode, is that the kid is actually the villain. Is that the kid forced his dad to do these things, and that because Scatman Carruthers knew his secret, that's why he had to bring him there to die. So I like that version better than what the movie showed me. Anyway, I know. Go back and listen to that episode. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. Some of my other notes I'm going to run through here real quick. Max von Sydow. Max von Sydow makes everything better. He's great. Let's see. I mentioned that already. Let's see. Oh, well, I was talking about the cameras, though. Like, the whole cameras. You know, there was a lot of... like he says, that's cell block A, and it's just the fastest pan ever from point A to point B. You know, like it's... I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's not like they did it, sped it up. I don't know. It's just weird how they did it, but it was very quick. Anyway. I do like the conspiracy thing. Let's see what I don't know. Oh, here's my note. I don't know if the war story is fake, but the actors who are being shot are some. So when it's being portrayed that the soldiers, right, are being shot, the German guards.
Mm-hmm.
I was as I was watching it, I'm trying to think that scene actually happened in real life. That's a real historical moment. I didn't do any more research.
At Dachau?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, I've actually been there.
Really?
On that one. Oh yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. When I went with the college back in 2001.
That's cool. And
yep.
And sad and all the other emotions. But
it's a real thing. Yeah.
Wow.
So the guards, so them getting executed did happen. I don't know if it happened the way the movie portrayed it, as it started off as kind of an accident and then just escalated. I don't know. I didn't do any more research on it. I'm sorry. But in the shot, as the camera is on that cool, it's on a dolly, right? It's sliding down as we're seeing all of them die. Mm-hmm. I was watching them. I wasn't watching the soldiers shooting. I wasn't watching the Americans. I was watching the Germans. There's a lot of really weird and like dumb things happening. Like you just see people just standing there, and then some people are like, I don't know. It seemed
like some of them were acting like they weren't getting shot, like they were dodging the bullets almost.
Yeah. It kind of looked like Matrix vision was kind of happening or something. Or I don't know. There was. I mean, like. One person ran towards the Americans. Like I get that notion. I don't know. Just some of them just seemed like one guy was like looking away. I don't know. Maybe that would be if you know you're going to get shot, might as well turn around. I don't know. It just seemed weird. I noticed it is all. That's fine. Let's see. The dude that had the cut on his face that was a hallucination. He's Casey Jones from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't know if you guys. Yeah, I always find a TMNT connection. I was looking for a Star Trek connection. I didn't find one, but I spent 20 minutes looking and I was giving up. I was also confused as how Sir Ben Kingsley can have a perfect transcript of a conversation that the two of them had at his cell, and both of them are mentally unstable. Like, it just seemed weird that guy was able to recount exactly their conversation. I don't know.
It's part of his evil Nazi doctor powers.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe the conspiracy is actually true. I don't know. Last couple notes I have here was simply. I don't remember the drowning scene with the kids. That was hard to watch. That was the last thing I wrote. So
you're just like the character. You've completely.
I somehow
wiped that from your memory.
I did,
and right?
Yeah, I really did. It's weird. Ricky, do you have any other notes you want to hit on before we move on?
If I had one complaint about this movie, other than that weird car scene, which I can almost forgive if we want to chalk it up to all the different things that are in this movie where you go, I don't know if this is happening or not.
Yeah.
But when Leonardo DiCaprio was climbing up and down those like wet cliffs and he was just free climbing, I was just like, oh, come on. He's got to be able to find a path or something. The free climbing on these wet, sheer rocks is just ridiculous. There's no way he's going to climb down this cliff face and back up.
Well, and the question about the cliffs too is, did that even happen?
I could,
right?
I guess it's hard to argue that as well.
I kind of feels like it happened, but there's so much things that are happening that make you wonder. I mean, because the person he's talking to isn't real. The fire that he's warming his hands on isn't real. Did he just climb down there to take a nap, and he dreamt it all? And. Against
or is this all in the palace in his mind? Is this is he laying somewhere in a cell or laying in his bed thinking of all this? Or I mean, psychiatry is a fascinating science, and mental illness is is one of the reasons why I got into psychology, and it was my first degree. So it's an interesting thing. You could do some very fascinating things with your mind, and some very bad things, right?
Like start a podcast.
Yeah. Continuously threaten your friend.
Continuously.
For 340 something episodes.
Plus over voicemail. Remember, I have many files of audio evidence. I mean, if something ever God forbid, something ever actually happened to me, police are literally going to call you and be like, look, I know you said a whole bunch of weird stuff, and Sean's got a lot of voicemails he saved to you saying you're going to do stuff. We need to have a conversation. Oh my gosh.
But especially when it comes to whatchamacallit, not tragedy, but when you go through something really hard, and you know, there's a reason why kids who have events in their childhood, traumatic events in their childhood, can end up pretty messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. It's yeah. Anything else? Any other notes?
I agree with what, not Sean. Who else is here? Sam. Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree with Sam talking about rewatching the movie like fairly soon. After, this is one of those movies where, just like Sixth Sense, you get a piece of information at the end and you want to go back and rewatch the movie and see how you can plug this information in and change the outcome of the movie, or not even the outcome, but just change your experience with the film.
And especially with the real characters that are around him, it's fascinating to me, and their interactions with him and how they deal with him. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mentioned earlier, like you have to have all of the staff has to have total buy-in on what he's doing, but also just know that there's a danger there, you know. So when he's interrogating the I keep wanting to say prisoners, like he did the patients, you'll notice that there are guards everywhere, or orderlies, whatever. They're nearby all the time, and the only time that there's not one nearby is when Banner is with him. Of course, when he sneaks off by himself. Those are the things I was going to mention when you mentioned Ricky, the cliffs of Dover there. Like, this whole thing would be for naught if he slipped and died. You know, I mean,
all right, everybody, pack it in.
We've got to
get a whole island.
That didn't work.
Yeah, I mean, because when you go back, Sam, I'm gonna be interesting to see if you ever do go back and watch this, because then you start picking up on stuff like when Chuck has to relinquish his weapon. He's never held a gun ever, so he can't even get the holster out of his pants, right? Like, it's so uncomfortable and unnatural for him.
Oh, okay,
like little things like that. And when they're looking for the body, all the guards are just smoking and throwing rocks, and like they don't care because there's no one to look for.
Right.
Like there's these little notes like that they sprinkle throughout. And that's why because we find out later, so I'm going to go back to the water cup. The reason why we don't see the cup with the water is because to him, the sign of water is the traumatic experience, right? He associates water with the death of his kids. That's why when he's particularly agitated, the storm gets worse, right? As he's diving deeper into his psychoses, whatever, when he's trying to peel back the layers, that's why the storm is raging. And it's once he gets more information and learns some of the truth, the sky starts to lighten up. But that's why she doesn't drink the water, because he doesn't want to acknowledge. He doesn't want to see the water, and that's why he, like, whenever he wakes up and there's water on his face from the rafters or whatever, like, it freaks him out because it reminds him of that moment, though he just doesn't know why yet. So there's a lot of really great stuff that they sprinkled throughout the movie to get you to this point. But yeah, it's
on the trip over, the whole there's just so much water.
Yeah.
Right?
And my question was, at what point did he wake up? Like, did they give him a tranquilizer and put him on the boat, right, and bring him back over? Is that how they started?
Yeah,
this?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, how did this all start? Yeah, I'm with you. That's a good.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good. No, that's a good question. That's a real.
But
good,
I'm guessing, you know how he got sick, and I believe his hands were shaking. It could have been an after effect of the medicine that they gave him to put him on the boat. I'd have to watch the opening again. Does he wake up, or does it just show him all of a sudden? I really don't know.
The opening scene is literally him puking in a toilet and then splashing water on his face, saying "Get yourself together." So I mean, I think you're right. Maybe he's starting to come out of the he's wearing the drugs that they gave him to numb him. I think are starting to wear off, and maybe you're right. Maybe that's when they put him on that boat, and. We kind of makes you wonder, like, how long was that boat, that ferry, kind of just like tugging around before he woke up and they can start the play?
Yeah,
you know, I mean,
they did touch on the shaking hands thing.
Mm-hmm.
The evil Nazi Dr. Colley, Ben Kingsley, he said that it was a side effect from the withdrawal of Thorazine.
Yeah.
So they did mention that specifically, and yeah.
He blew up his car. That part did kind of make me chuckle. So, all right. If there's nothing else, the only trope I wrote down for this one was the hopping man, who was the guard that let him in. It just disappeared. So it felt weird having John Carroll Lewis in this for
a recognizable face for sure.
Yeah, but he's only there for 2 scenes. Just have the warden be the guy that does all that stuff. Let him have more things to say. His voice is so unique, and he's kind of creepy, especially when he says, "If I try to bite your eye out, would you stop me?" You know, that whole men of violence.
Or would you have time to? Yeah, would you have time?
Yeah, and he says, "Let's find out." You know, he's like, "That's the spirit." Like he wants to see if he still has that soldier in him. Which, by the way, my wife asked this question. Do we think that the war stuff was real? Or was that
Yeah.
I thought it was too.
I think it is.
I think that's, again, part of the trauma that he has.
Yeah, I think it set him up for that trauma, having to go through all his war things that kind of exposed him to, I guess, get into the situation with his wife.
It certainly helped because it led him to drink, because he's trying to forget these moments, and it led him to drink, which led him to miss the fact that his wife was slowly going into a depression that she could not get out of.
Yeah.
So, all right, you ready for a couple clips? I have a few.
Nah.
No. Okay. Well, too bad. Here we go. If you're going to make a dick reference, I'm going to capture it.
What about those caves down there? Have you checked them?
No way she could get there. The base of those cliffs are covered in the poison ivy, live oak, sumac, 1,000 plants with thorns as big as my dick. You said yourself, Marshal, she's got no shoes.
Yeah.
You said it yourself, Marshal.
I like his accent. It's great. I mean, he's Maine. You know, it's up in Maine. I get that. I liked this lady, and I when she said her bit about the axe, I looked over at my wife, and my wife goes, "Yeah, I'm with her." So here you go.
The difference is most people don't kill their husbands with an axe.
Huh.
Although personally, I think if a man beats you and fucks half the women he sees, and no one will help you, axing him isn't the least understandable thing you could do.
Yeah. So I looked over at my wife, and she's like, "Yeah, pretty much." I said, "Okay, well, it's a good thing we don't have an axe here, and I don't do all those other things too." So. This line caught me off guard, and I did some research because I know how Sam is. So I did some research on this. I didn't do the research on the World War II thing, but I did research on this. So
or shooting guns in space.
Shooting guns in space, yeah, things like that. Which, Ricky, we learned you can shoot a gun in space.
On the moon,
on the moon. So you remember,
Really?
Ricky, so specifically, remember not the Our Mrs. Reynolds episode, right?
Yep, where Jane had to put Vera in a suit.
He says even Vera needs oxygen. Well, we watched Iron Sky for the podcast for episode 100, right? He was episode 100.
Yeah.
And the moon Nazis literally just have a regular Luger out in the vacuum of space on the moon, and they shoot the astronauts that are there. And I said, you can't do that. And
I don't think you can do that.
You can't do that because
no.
But then we Googled it and found that you can, because the explosion is in the capsule of the bullet, so it doesn't need oxygen. It's within the capsule of the bullet. Reaction. There's enough chemical reaction to still push the bullet out. So science, right? I was so blown away, and then I was even doubly humiliated when they were mining for helium-3. I didn't know that was real, and it is real.
This is one of those moments where I really wish the Mythbusters were still around.
Yeah,
I know, right?
I'm not sure how they could prove that one, but I don't know. Send Jamie to the moon and let him shoot.
Send Buster up there.
ISS.
Yeah, send Buster up there. Let's give Elon Musk's mannequin in his Corvette a gun to shoot or something. I don't know. These are answers that we need. So anyway, here's the line from the movie.
I think the whole electrical system is fried.
It's a good possibility, yeah.
All the electronic security, the fences, gates, the doors.
Come on.
So that's where I cued in when he used the word electronics or the electronic security. Were we using the word electronic in 1954? You know, now
electric.
I did a search on the word, the etymology of the word. That's not the right word. Etymology that's not right. Right? Gosh dang it.
I think it's right.
Is that the word?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, etymology in my brain is the study of bugs for some reason. What am I thinking of?
That is entomology.
Entomology.
Okay. Anyway, I'm trying to sound smarter than I actually am. So I did this kind of the history of the word. And the word is first seen as used in text in 1902, the word electronics. As we think of microchips and circuit boards and stuff like that. So when he said electronic security, it made me think electronic. Is that an electronic? Electronic makes me think of computer systems, things like that. But I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. It was just a moment where I thought, is that a word they would say? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just dumb. Speaking of being smarter than I look.
I'm not following you. I'm sorry.
Once you're declared insane, then anything you do is called part of that insanity. Reasonable protests or denial, valid fears, paranoia.
Survival instincts are defense mechanisms.
You're smarter than you look, Marshal. That's probably not a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What her point, which is, of course, is the point he's making to himself, is he's trying to continue to prove to himself that he's not crazy. But that's kind of like what gaslighting is, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what that is. So, and we see it a lot. We see it in modern day society. It's kind of crazy. Not going to get on a soapbox, but I'm just saying, it's a thing. If you say the name of your movie, I am going to capture it.
50 years from now, people will look back and say, here, this place is where it all began. The Nazis used the Jews, Soviets used prisoners in their own gulags, and we tested patience on Cheddar Island.
Oh, she said it.
She said it.
Yep. This is as I'm looking at my clips, I realize most of these clips are a little bit longer than usual. Here's the only short one.
You blew up my car. I really love that car.
Blew up my car, Marshal. I really love that car.
It's such a sweet moment because this guy blew up your car and you're trying to help him and he's not even mad. He's just like, it's just.
I'm very disappointed in you, Marshal.
Yeah. You do that Maine accent really well, that New England accent. From being from Colorado, you do a pretty good job.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Here we go. This is the clip of the day.
Oh, this place makes me wonder.
Yeah, what's that, boss?
Which would be worse? To live as a monster? Or to die as a good man?
Yeah. Which is a very similar sentiment that they pondered in Batman or The Dark Knight, right? Do you die a hero or live to become the villain? It's kind of the same idea, I think. But for some reason, this way it seems more elegant and sad. You know.
Yeah.
Just poor guy. Just really feel bad for him. I just want to hug him. You know. Just feel so
it's
bad.
Okay. Yeah.
Gosh, it just stinks. All right, time for this.
And now for some more bad news. Ready?
Oh. Sorry, I got distracted because I'm seeing myself on my Skype. I don't know what's going on. This is weird. Some trivia. Mark Ruffalo won the role of Chuck after sending Martin Scorsese a fan letter saying how much he wanted to work with him. That was
okay. Isn't that like what's his name in Wolf of Wall Street that wanted to that took a big pay cut? He took the minimum union dues to be in Wolf of Wall Street. Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
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 But he also said, I remember specifically in the trivia him saying that he wanted to audition. He didn't just want to get the part. He wanted to audition.
Wow.
So, Sam, I thought you'd like this one. The title of the movie, is an anagram for truths and lies.
Very cool.
Isn't that cool?
Huh.
Or you could do truths / denials.
Hold on. Yeah.
I love playing with words.
I do too.
That's fantastic.
It is. The traumatic killing, I already mentioned that. It's a real thing, but I said I didn't do any more research on it. So, according to IMDb, it's real. I actually don't know, so I'm just going to assume that it's real, having done no extra stuff. Here's a couple other things. So, here are several clues in intentional continuity errors throughout the movie that foreshadow the ending. So, we mentioned the guards.
Yeah.
Just hanging out. I mentioned the water because he has an issue with water. A cardigan appeared briefly on Rachel, which is later worn by the other Rachel. So when he confronts the girl in her cell, and then later in the cave, they're both wearing the same clothes.
Mm-hmm.
The lines from Edward's, a.k.a. Andrew's, dreams being repeated, such as, "Why are you wet, baby?" The techniques are also used in these techniques are also used in his dreams, showing a similarity between what he perceives as a dream and what he perceives as real. So there you go, a little bit of that. Thought that was kind of cool. Time for this.
Well, before you do that,
yeah.
Another anagram for Shutter Island is lather nudists. Another one would be tarnished slut.
No, ooh, I don't like that.
Are you doing this in real time?
He's on a
amazing.
website. He has to be on a website.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've done this before on the podcast. It was a long time ago, but we did a whole anagram thing. I remember this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because Chad had something right back when Chad. What was Chad?
Yes. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
We found one for Chad. It was amazing, and I can't remember what it was now. I mean, that was literally 6 years ago, but oh my gosh, it wasn't an anagram of his name. I can't.
That's right. We were going to call him.
We were going to call him by that.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember. For those of you who've listened to us since the beginning, listener Andrew, Maxton, Alan, if you guys remember what we're talking about, please send us a message on Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah,
I've got to remember.
When we can't remember, 300 episodes ago or whatever it was.
It was 6 years ago. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can't remember that. It was an anagram. It was great. I can't remember. That's a bummer. All right. Anyway, what was I going to do? Oh, I was going to say this. Wait. So what was the first one? That first anagram you told me? You said
nudist, lather nudist.
Lather nudist. Is that better than the original? The one that you did for the name of the show?
I don't know.
I still like the one you did better. I think that's going to be the winner.
It's surprising.
It was great. It was really good. Very clever. Here we go.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
That's right. So, the clip that keeps on giving, it's just there's so many other ones. There's so many good. I just don't. I mean, there's no reason why I picked that other than I thought it was funny. There's no reason why it should be that, but it could be anything like that's gross. It could be that one for all we know, but it's not. It's not. It's that anyway. We decided to do movies that have. I wrote down set in hospitals or set in mental hospitals, but I'm going to have to cheat and just say that feature at some point in the movie a mental hospital, because I've not seen
Hands.
A lot of movies. What?
Wasn't it Cave Hands?
Cave Hands. Oh. Yes.
Cave Hands.
Cave Hands. Man, that's amazing.
Yeah. Sorry, it took me a while.
No,
I
Cave Hands. That's great because Chad Evans is the anagram for Cave Hands, or I guess the other way around.
Yeah.
Cave Hands. That's amazing.
Sorry. Don't interrupt.
I'm glad. I'm glad you found it. I'm glad you did it. So now the guys I called out don't have to participate, or they don't have to feel pressured to find it.
They don't have to dig.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. Maybe they just remember that kind of stuff. I don't know.
It would help our numbers if they dug. Maybe you should just edit this out.
Yes, you must go back and listen to all first 100 episodes with Chad. Back when Chad was still with us. All right, top 3 movies set with mental hospitals. Ricky, I'm going to let you go first.
I'm going to go 12 Monkeys. There was that movie, The Jacket, with Adrian Brody, I think.
Okay.
He was basically
Never heard of it.
Former soldier, and he was put in a mental health clinic, and he was kind of going crazy, and they put him in a straitjacket. And finally, Terminator 2. Right?
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Got to be Terminator 2.
You know what? I was going to put that, and then I did my Google search, and then I forgot it. But that's such a great one, especially when the Dr. Man licks her. Ugh, that scene gives me the willies. It makes me Shutter Island. There we go. I don't think that really fits, but... Sam.
All right. I've got the number 3, the breakout role for Angelina Jolie in Girl Interrupted.
Yeah. The only thing I hang this real quick. The only scene that I know from that movie is because she's talking to, I think, Whoopi Goldberg or something, and right? Because it's Angel Jolie, and she takes she's got a needle, and she's got it to her neck, and she says, "I'm going to stab this in my aorta," and then the nurse is like, which again I thought it was Whoopi, but I don't remember. But she says, "Your aorta is in your heart," and she goes, "Oh, good to know," and then hands the needle over. That's the only scene I know from that movie. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think she meant jugular, right?
Yeah, I guess that's probably what she meant, but that's...
Yeah. My number 2 is the Joker movie, or, playing Joker.
I've not seen it. I need to.
God, you got to see it. Got to see it.
I need to see that one, too.
Yeah, it's so good. It will remind you of a Scorsese movie. It really will. It's just so well done.
Yeah.
And my number 1 movie is another freaking dog dies at the end type of movie, Awakenings.
Okay.
And that one, that ruined me. That movie, I just cannot watch. I can't even think of it without tearing up.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just we're here in this very small moment. I'm just curious. Are there other little pop culture references or media that just hit you in the feels just thinking about it, like thinking about the weight of what it is? Does it get emotional about anything like that? I do.
It all depends on how it hits me in the moment, I guess. Good Lord, sometimes the 6-letter short story that's been attributed to Hemingway, the baby shoes for sale, never used.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh,
that's sad.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I'm going to go cry now. there's two kind of famous pop culture moments that if you literally, Sam, and I'm not, I know you're going to do this at some point just to do it because I'm giving you the ammo to do it. But if you literally sent me the GIF of it, would literally make me cry. One is if you've ever watched Futurama.
I know where you're going.
It's the dog.
Yep.
It's the dog in Futurama. Sam, I don't think you ever watched Futurama.
No.
But
Well, sparingly. I know what it is, obviously.
But there's a thing with the dog, and it just wrecks me every time. And then the other one, same family, and that's The Simpsons. And it's the Do It For Her episode. God, freaking every time. Just gets me in the feels. I'm just getting emotional thinking about it. It's such an amazing episode. Such a great thing. And whenever I
Seymour. The dog's name was Seymour.
Yeah, Seymour. Yeah. From Futurama.
Mm-hmm.
I posted on Twitter, our Twitter family. I said, "Hey, this is what we're doing for top 3." We've got some great responses from our good friends at Sudden But Inevitable.
I know those guys.
You do know those guys.
I am those guys.
You're 1/4 of those guys. So, so Jesse posted One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Patch Adams, Little Miss Sunshine. He mentioned about Steve Carell being in the facility. Let's see. Our good friend from last week, Cameron from Green Shirt Podcast, said Quills, The Dream Team, and Return to Oz. And then he said,
Return to Oz is freaky as it is.
He said, yes, Cuckoo's Nest is the best, but that's like giving Ken Griffey Jr. a trophy for winning the local Little League tourney. All right, Cameron. That's great.
That's perfect.
Let's see. We got another one for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Girl Interrupted, and Nightmare on Elm Street, and Dream Warriors. Oh, Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Excuse me, Dream Warriors. And then my new friends, who I'm going to be guesting on later this summer, the Beard Owl podcast. That's BEER''D, like Beard Owl podcast. Mentioned Shutter Island. So,
cool.
Yeah, they talk about beer and Weird Al. Gosh dang it. I get stuff in my eye.
I listened to so much Weird Al when I was a kid. I'm going to have to check out Beard Al because
Weird Al.
God, I had probably 7 of his albums.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking down at my CD case right now. I have everyone up to Running with Scissors.
Yeah.
I have the greatest hits.
I mean, I think I have video of Sean lip syncing at my wedding to.
It wasn't your wedding; it was Chad's wedding. But I lip synced to White Nerdy. The DJ played White Nerdy. I knew all of the lyrics.
I think I still know all the lyrics to Albuquerque. I could probably just start spouting that off right now.
Albuquerque's a good one. That's a good one. So there you go. Thank you for our internet friends. Oh wait, hold on.
Yes.
Also, Maxton on Facebook commented with Split.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either yet.
I have not either. I've only seen the first of the trilogy, and that is Unbreakable. Unbreakable.
Yeah. I've been meaning to catch. What was it like? Glass.
Yeah, so Glass is the last one.
Yeah, Glass is that's the last one where. Yeah.
I loved Unbreakable. I need to check out those next 2.
Talk about a slow burn.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Twitter is distracting me, mainly Jesse, because he's talking. He's literally tagging us saying, "Ricky is recording with Cheap Seats, and I hope you had finished or something." I don't know. I'm getting distracted. I'm gonna get away from here because Jesse's just gonna bother me. So my 3 are. Gosh, seriously, I'm in pain over here, guys.
Yay.
I know. I did Halloween, the first one, because Michael escapes from a place, right?
Yeah.
My number 2, it's not a great movie, but I haven't seen a lot of these really good ones, so I did Sucker Punch.
Oh.
I know, it's kind of a cheat since we did it
I
that
put
long.
Halloween above that one, for sure.
Well, okay, yeah, I'm kind of doing this not right in order. You're right.
Okay.
Sucker Punch would be 3.
Yeah.
And then number 2 would be Halloween. And then my number 1, again, it starts off at an institution, but the rest of the movie is not, and that is Serenity.
I knew you'd put it in there. I almost put it in there only because I figured you would have it. So,
yeah, and I love that scene. Cool. Such a cool scene. All right, time for the I gotta find my clip piece. Oh my gosh, where is it? Here.
Wait, what's supposed to happen?
This is where we do our out of 10. All right, we're gonna score this movie from 0 to 10, and I will start with Sam.
All right. I'm going to put it up there. It's such a well-done movie with very few flaws. Just the rewatchability. Well, even rewatchability is good. I'll give it a good 7.9 out of 10.
All right. That's cool. 7.9. Ricky, what you got?
I also went with 7.9. I was thinking about it. I didn't think it quite hit that 8.0 range. That's where you kind of get into great. And just below that, I think the 7.0s is kind of a scale of good. And I think it's right at the very peak of good, just shy of absolute greatness. 7.9, I think, is a really good score for this one.
You think it could have been just if he tightened up the movie just a little bit, maybe? I don't know. I was thinking, how would you improve on this movie? And, obviously there's some spots like the car scene that could be improved fairly easily, but I don't know what else he could do.
What if there were like topless women wandering around in the background?
Well, here's the weird thing. So when you pull this up on Netflix, it says strong language, violence, and nudity. And I thought, I don't remember there being nudity. And if there's nudity, it's not going to be good nudity. And, because, the first woman you see on camera is the crazy lady with the hair, with the shushing. Yeah. So, I was wondering, what is the nudity? Well, the nudity was naked men in that place. I felt so bad. Leonardo DiCaprio gets free reign of the island, and these dudes are naked in a cage.
Yeah.
So, anyway. I'm going to give this an 8. I like this movie, and it also helps the math. So, I'm just going to give it an 8.
That works.
Yeah, it gives it a nice 7.93 repeating. So I think that's good. I mean the last 4 movies. Oh, I'm sorry, the last 5 movies. I forgot we did Willow last week. Sorry, Cameron. But yeah, in our last 5 movies, Atonement, Road to Perdition, Godzilla v Kong, Willow, and now Shutter Island. Those are
a pretty darn good list.
Yeah, 4 out of 5 were really good.
Just
saying, you guys can figure out which one we didn't love, and that's okay. 2021 has been good, I think, for our movies. I don't know if I think our average score for the year so far would be in the 7s.
Yeah,
we started off.
So it also helps that we've had a bunch of great guest hosts.
It really does
that
help.
Have brought in good movies for us to talk about. So
really does.
I appreciate it, Ricky D, of bringing in Shudder and finally getting me to sit down to watch it. For sure.
Yeah, no problem. I thought it was a good choice. You guys kind of threw it to me, and I started flipping through my Netflix queue, and I was like, "Oh, Shutter Island would be perfect."
Yep. Yeah. And how about I think we threw this at you last night too, didn't we?
It was crap!
It was Monday night. We
can't do this.
So bummed out.
So thank you for being flexible on that as well.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, definitely. The last little piece of business that we do every week, and by every week I mean when I remember to do it, is the quote game. So I'm going to play this clip. No, not that clip. This clip.
Stop eating my sesame cake!
I just wanted to play that. It's been a long time since I played that. The quote game. Yes. I have a big giant poster of movie quotes, and this is the quote. Ricky, you don't have to participate. It's more of just for people that listening to do it. But if you know it, then great. Look, Daddy, teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Oh.
Now, every time I hear
Jurassic
that,
Park.
it reminds me, did you ever watch Rocko's Modern Life?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, you were too old for that, Sam. And I'm not making an actual old joke. I'm saying you were probably a couple years.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
You
were already watching Wolf Blitzer on CNN when this was on. So there's the old joke. There's a part where in the one of the shows that his car is broken. Right, Rocco's car is messed up, and in order to fix it, he needs to get a gas cap. That's all that's wrong with it, is that he needs a new gas cap. And the whole episode is like this ridiculous thing because it has to be ridiculous. And finally, at the end of the episode, he gets the gas cap and reunites it with his car, and his car works. And like there's a chorus singing, and there's birds flying, and there's people in a crowd. I don't remember why, but there's people crowded around. And there's a kid on the shoulders of his dad, and he says, teacher says whenever a car is reunited with its gas cap, an angel gets its wings. And the dad says, your teacher's full of spit. It's just, what? It's that show. I mean, it's just that show. But every time I think of that line, I think of that other line, and it makes me laugh because it's just dumb. That show was weird. That show was weird.
It was really weird. Yeah. I grew up in like the 90s with Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
There's this really cool documentary. I think it's on Hulu. It's called The Orange Years, but it goes through like Rocko's Modern Life and Rugrats and just a whole bunch of those early things, Legends of the Hidden Temple, and just those shows that were really big in the 90s. If you're a 90s kid, if you liked Nickelodeon, that's a really good documentary. It's 88% on Rotten Tomatoes. I highly recommend it.
Cool. Very nice. All right. Well, Ricky D, with host of Best Flicks with Ricky D, tell the people who listen to this show how they can find you and your stuff.
You can, if you want to find our website, it's twistmyarmpodcast.com. That has the Sudden But Inevitable rewatch. That has some of our guys do streamings. We do a show where we interview local business owners, that kind of thing. And then my personal show is Best Flicks with Ricky D. I'm Ricky D. And it's basically, I go through all of the new shows coming to Netflix, everything coming to HBO, everything coming to Hulu. And I break it down and I go, here's, 107 movies coming to Hulu this month. Here's some few brief thoughts on things. Here's some movies that you have to see. And I just that's how I kind of approach the movie podcast genre, is I try and let you know what's coming up, what's available.
Yeah, that way you can say, maybe I don't want to watch this, or hey, Ricky says I should check this out, so I'll just go ahead and skip the line and jump right on this one. So it's a neat show, neat idea. Thank you for that. So normally this is where I say a whole bunch of different places that you can find our podcast, but you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. I'm now just going to simply say, if you want to find our show, the best place to do it is Linktree/Cheapseat Reviews. This is this new thing that apparently, it's not new. People have been using this for a while, but it's new to us. So Linktree, technically it's linktr.ee/Cheapseat Reviews, but that has every single possible link for the show that you could ever need to find. Our Facebook, our Twitter, our website, all of the things is right there at that. So just go there and find all of our stuff. And it just makes my life a lot easier than having to say all of the other things that I have to say. So there you go. But I will also just simply say cheapseatreviews.libsyn.com is our website. That's the easiest way to get a hold of all of our old episodes. And yeah, that's it. Gosh, anything else before we need to say before I close this out here?
I mentioned the website, but I didn't say. Of course, you can find Sudden But Inevitable or Best Flicks with Ricky D on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, all of those good things. So I did want to make that clear. It's nice and easy to find on whatever podcast player you're using.
Yeah. Again, if you're a fan of this show, I was on Sudden But Inevitable for the Ariel episode. Had a blast, which is how I got connected with Ricky here to get him on our show. So all the love. Those guys are great. And we're going to have another third of that show will be on our show in the third week of May. Josh will be joining us for
Star Wars.
Some Star Wars love coming up in May. But that's not next week. Next week is a movie called Ava. And I'm 100% sure that it's actually streaming because I checked right before we hit record. So Ava, it's the Jessica Chastain. I know nothing about it other than on the poster, she's holding a gun. So I assume it's some kind of action, shooty kind of thing. And I think after the month we've had, Sam, I think you're okay with a little bit of just mindless, shooty up
absolutely
kind of things. I don't want the dog to die at the end. Let's just let somebody shoot some bad guys and let's go home.
Yeah.
I think that'll be just great.
Oh,
that's
hopefully
it.
No dead kids.
Oh gosh. Well, I mean, and you know how much I love Extraction, but that even has a dead kid in it. So.
Oh yeah.
It's like a spoiler or not. That's it. That's our show. Oh, one last weird little thing, Sam. Our podcast was nominated for a podcast award.
What?
So there's a couple of other podcasts out there that just do kind of their own little award things.
Okay.
So Sudden But Inevitable was nominated by me and several others a few weeks ago for it's like a weekly podcast. It goes down in the PM is the name of the podcast, and they do a weekly thing. So I nominated Sudden But, and I went and voted. I'm only going to say I may have voted more than once.
Oh yeah, I might have found a way to do that too.
Yeah, all you need is an email address, and I own 4. So, but I really wanted that show to win because they're such good guys, and
we did win,
and they did win. So,
yay! Good job, guys.
So, another show who is called Measuring the Score, and we're going to have the host of that show on our show coming up soon. And that's a podcast that does nothing but film scores. That's all they focus on is film scores. Oh. And the guy is a film composer. That's his job. He's a composer. I'm really excited about that. It's going to be cool. Anyway, he nominated us for Quite the Thing Media has their own podcast awards. And he nominated us for in the TV and film segment. So...
Oh, so it wasn't for like the longest and most boring podcast.
No, award. It's not for that, but
There's not a Razzie here or anything.
No, but here's the funny thing is that as soon as he told me he was going to nominate our show, I turned around and nominated Sudden But Inevitable for that one also. So we're literally like all competing against each other, which I think is hilarious. So anyway, all the love. It's nothing but love. All the support. Yeah. Twitter has been great recently. Ricky, it has been a blast having you on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
And
thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And we will definitely be doing this again because, well, I like bringing guests back on. And
yes,
I'm already sending Jesse messages when he wants to come back on in the summer, and so it's going to be good. Not in the meantime, just go home. Stop listening to us. We're done. I'm going to hit the music, and that's it. So on behalf of Ricky D from Best Flicks with Ricky D and Sam, this is Sean saying thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week for Ava.
This is Cheapseat Reviews.